Imran was a quiet, middle-aged carpenter who lived alone in a small house at the edge of the town. Every morning, he walked the same road to his workshop. Passing the old orphanage that had stood there since his own childhood, he rarely looked at it. For him, it was just another building on the route he had followed for years. Imran was not a man who enjoyed changes or surprises. His life was simple. Wake up, work with wood, return home, make tea, sleep. But one cold winter morning, something happened that shifted everything inside him as he walked past the tall, rusty fence of the orphanage. He heard a soft sound, almost too quiet to notice. At first, he thought it was the wind moving through the metal bars. He kept walking. But then he heard it again, a tiny voice, unsure and trembling. "Sir." "Excuse me?" Imran stopped. He slowly turned to the fence and saw a thin boy standing behind it. The boy looked around 9 years old. His clothes were clean but old, his hair slightly messy, and his small hands tightly held onto the metal bars as if they were the only thing keeping him steady. His eyes were big and soft, but they carried a sadness Imran had seen only a few times in his life. Imran took a step closer. "Yes, child." "What is it?" The boy swallowed softly. The words seemed to struggle inside him before finally coming out. "Please, sir, just for one day." "Can you be my father?" Imran froze. His breath caught for a moment, as if the cold morning air had suddenly become heavier. He had never heard a question like that in his entire life. He expected maybe a request for food or help, but not that. The boy didn't speak again. He simply watched Imran, waiting, scared, and hopeful at the same time. His fingers squeezed the metal bars nervously. Slowly knelt down so he could look the boy in the eyes. "What is your name?" "Arif," the boy whispered. "And why are you asking this, Arif?" Imran asked gently. The question was not cold. It was soft, like someone trying to understand something delicate. Arif lowered his head before replying. "Tomorrow. It's Parents' Day in the orphanage. All children who have parents or guardians will come with them. Teachers say everyone must attend, even those who don't have parents." He paused and his voice shook slightly. "I don't want to be the only one standing alone again." Imran's heart tightened. The boy's voice was steady, but the pain hiding in it was clear. Arif lifted his face again. "I know it is just for one day. I won't ask for more. I promise. I just want to feel normal for one day." Imran didn't know what to say. He felt unprepared, almost as if someone had dropped a weight into his chest. He finally spoke. "I cannot promise anything right now. Let me think about it." Arif nodded quickly, as if he expected this reply. "Okay, I understand," he said softly. He stepped back from the fence, but his eyes stayed fixed on Imran until he walked away. That entire day, Imran tried to focus on his carpentry work, but he couldn't. He cut wood, shaped pieces, polished surfaces, but every few minutes, the same small voice echoed in his mind. "Please, sir, just for one day, can you be my father?" Imran placed a wooden plank aside and sighed. He wasn't a man who enjoyed emotional situations. He had lived most of his life quietly, without getting close to anyone. He had no family of his own, no children, no wife. His days were predictable, and he believed that was enough. But now, a single question from a small boy had shaken him in a way he never expected. During lunch, he sat alone in his workshop holding a cup of tea that had gone cold. His mind drifted to Arif. Why would the boy choose him, of all people? Imran wasn't rich or well-dressed. He wasn't anyone special. He didn't even look friendly most of the time. But the boy had looked at him with a strange trust. As if something about him felt safe, Imran put the cup down and rubbed his forehead. He felt a strange heaviness mixed with something warm, something he didn't understand yet. When evening came, Imran walked home slowly. The winter wind blew against his face, but his thoughts were louder than the cold. At home, he made tea again, but couldn't drink it. He sat at his kitchen table for almost an hour, staring at his hands. His house was silent, as always. The walls carried no family photos. The shelves held no toys. The rooms had nothing but basic furniture. It struck him for the first time just how empty his life actually was. That night he barely slept. The next morning, Imran woke up early and prepared for work, but instead of walking normally, he felt a strange pull toward the orphanage. When he reached the fence, he saw Arif standing there again, holding onto the bars just like yesterday. But today, Arif didn't call him. He didn't ask anything. He simply waited with quiet hope in his eyes. He didn't cry or plead. He just stood there, as if Imran's presence alone was something important. Imran walked closer, his footsteps slow and thoughtful. He looked at the boy through the fence. "Arif," he said softly. The boy's eyes widened. He didn't move or speak. He just waited. Emma took a deep breath. His voice was quiet but steady when he spoke the words that would change both their lives. "I will come tomorrow." Arif's face lit up with a brightness Imran had never seen before. It was not loud joy. It was gentle, pure, and deep, a kind of happiness only someone who had lived without it could show. "Really?" Arif whispered, almost in disbelief. "Yes," Imran replied. "I will be there." Arif smiled so widely that his eyes seemed to sparkle. "Thank you." "Thank you so much, sir." Imran gave a small nod, trying to hide the mix of emotions inside him. "I will see you tomorrow." He walked away, but this time his steps felt lighter, as if something inside him had unlocked. The rest of the day, Imran worked differently. He felt more aware of the world around him, the sound of wood, the sunlight through the window, the distant voices outside. Everything felt alive in a way he hadn't felt for years. In the evening, he went to the market and bought a small book with beautiful drawings inside. He wasn't sure why, but he felt like Arif would like it. It wasn't expensive, but it felt meaningful. Something told him the boy deserved at least a small gift. That night, Imran cleaned his best shirt carefully. He wasn't used to dressing up, but tomorrow felt important. He didn't know how to act as a father, even for one day, but he knew he wanted to try. He sat on his bed for a long time, thinking about the day ahead. He wondered how Arif had survived so many years without anyone by his side. He wondered how many parents' days the boy had spent alone, watching other children laugh with their families. The thought made Imran's chest tighten. When morning finally came, Imran woke up early, dressed neatly, and looked at himself in the mirror. He didn't look like a father, but he hoped his heart would be enough. With a deep breath, he stepped out of his home, ready for a day he never planned, but one that would change everything. The morning of Parents' Day arrived with a soft winter sun spreading across the sky. Imran walked toward the orphanage wearing his cleanest shirt and carrying a small gift bag. His steps were steady, but inside his heart felt strangely nervous. He had never spent a day like this. He had never acted as a father before, not even for a moment. But something inside him said he wanted to try. He wanted to do this right. When he reached the orphanage gate, children were already gathering with their parents and guardians. Some held hands, some carried flowers, and some were wrapped in warm coats. The area was filled with soft laughter and excited chatter. Imran felt slightly out of place, but continued walking. Then he saw Urf. The boy stood on his toes, scanning every face that entered the gate. His cold red hands were tightly gripping the strap of a small cloth bag he had sewn himself. His eyes looked tired from waiting, but they still shone with hope. And then he spotted Imran. Arif's face brightened instantly, almost like a small lamp lighting up a dim room. He ran toward Imran, stopping right in front of him, breathing fast from excitement. "You came. You really came," Arif whispered, almost unable to believe it. Imran smiled softly. "I said I would." Arif nodded quickly, trying to hide the tears forming in the corner of his eyes. He straightened his small shoulders and said, "Today. I want to show you everything, and let's see it all," Imran said gently. The day began with a small assembly in the main hall. Children sat with their parents, and Imran took a seat beside Arif. The hall wasn't fancy painted walls. A few drawings made by kids and long wooden benches. But for Arif, sitting beside someone felt like sitting on a throne. He kept looking around, eyes wide, as if absorbing a life he had only imagined. Teachers welcomed everyone and talked about the children's progress. Some parents clapped proudly when their child's name was called. Arif didn't expect his name to be mentioned, but when he heard it, his little back straightened. Arif has shown great improvement in reading and drawing, the teacher announced. Arif looked at Imran shyly. Imran clapped softly and nodded. Well done, Arif. That simple praise made the boy blush with joy. After the assembly, the children were allowed to show their visitors around the orphanage. Arif grabbed Imran's hand not tightly, just gently, and led him through the hallways. He showed him the classroom with small desks, the library with colorful books, the dining area, and even the tiny garden where he sometimes watered plants. This is where I sit, Arif said, pointing to a small desk in the classroom. A picture he had colored hung above it. Im leaned closer to the picture. You're good at this, he said honestly. Arif smiled proudly. I like drawing. When I draw, I feel peaceful. They continued walking. Some children stared at them with curiosity. They had never seen Arif with a visitor before. A few smiled at him, happy for him. Arif held his head a little higher each time someone noticed. When they reached the small garden, Arif sat on a low stone and opened his cloth bag. I made this, he said, taking out a tiny wooden bird. The carving was rough but full of effort. I found a broken block of wood behind the orphanage. I tried to shape it like a bird. Imran took the small carving in his hand. He ran his fingers over the uneven edges. You did well, he said softly. Very well. You have a good eye for shapes. Arif's face glowed. Teacher said it was good. But she also said I should learn from someone who knows real woodwork. Imran looked at him. Would you like to learn? Arif nodded with excitement. Yes. Very much. Then I will teach you, Imran said. Arif's smile widened so much that his eyes closed for a moment. Soon, it was lunchtime. Parents and children sat in the garden under the winter sun. The orphanage staff had prepared warm rice, vegetables, and bread. Imran wasn't used to sitting with others, but today felt different. Arif sat beside him, eating slowly, occasionally glancing at Imran as if checking whether he was really there. At one point, Arif whispered, Can I ask something? Of course, Imran replied. What do fathers usually do? The boy asked softly. Imran paused. He didn't have an easy answer. His father had passed away when he was young, and he didn't have many memories, so he spoke from the heart. A father listens. He guides. He stands by you. He supports you when you fall. He teaches you things, and he cares for you. Arif absorbed every word. Do you think you can do that for one day? He asked gently. Imra looked at the small boy beside him, and something warm spread through him. I can try, he said honestly. Arif leaned a little closer, comforted by that answer. After lunch, the orphanage organized small games, running races, drawing contests, and simple puzzles. Arif wasn't the strongest or the fastest, but he tried every game with full effort because he knew someone was watching for him. Every time he turned his head, Imran would smile and give him a small nod of encouragement. Arif didn't win the running race, but when he walked back, breathing heavily, Imran patted his shoulder. You ran well. That's what matters. The boy beamed. Later, the children were asked to sit with their visitors and draw something meaningful. Many children drew families, flowers, or houses. Arif sat with his pencil in hand, thinking deeply. Imran sat quietly beside him, watching without interrupting. After a while, Arif began to draw carefully. His strokes were slow and thoughtful. When he finished, he held up the paper for Imran to see. It was a drawing of two people standing near a gate, one small. Behind them was the orphanage fence. Above them were simple blue skies. The tall figure had a small smile. The small figure held his hand. This is today, Arif said softly. I drew us. Imran stared at the drawing for a few seconds. Something tightened in his heart, but in a warm, gentle way. It's beautiful, he said. Arif folded the drawing carefully and put it in his cloth bag. I want to keep this forever. The day slowly reached its end. Parents began leaving with their children. Some children waved happily. Some held their parents' hands tightly. Arif stood beside Imran silently, watching others leave. A small worry crept into Arif's eyes. "Is the day over?" he asked quietly. Imran took a deep breath. He had felt this moment approaching since morning. He knelt down to be at Arif's height. "Yes, the day is ending," he said gently. "But it doesn't have to be the last time we meet." Arif blinked, not understanding at first. "You mean you will come again?" "If you want me to," Imran replied. The boy didn't speak. Instead, he wrapped his small arms around Imran with sudden emotion. It wasn't a tight or desperate hug. It was soft and full of gratitude, like someone holding a hope they were afraid to lose. Imran placed a gentle hand on the boy's back. "It's okay," he whispered. "I'm here." When it was time to go, Arif walked him to the gate. He didn't want to let go, but he didn't ask for more. He simply waved and said, "Goodbye, sir. Thank you for everything." Imran nodded and walked away, but he felt a weight inside him, one that wasn't painful, but meaningful. Something had changed. Something had awakened inside him that he thought had died long ago. As he walked home, the winter evening felt warmer. The streets looked different, as if the world had colors he had never noticed before. He reached his house and placed the small wooden bird on his shelf. Then he opened the gift bag he had brought for Arif and took out the book. He placed it carefully on his table. Seeing it there made him smile softly. He sat down, closed his eyes, and realized something simple but powerful. This was more than a single day. It was the beginning of something he never expected. The morning after Parents' Day, Imran woke up earlier than usual. The winter air was cold, but he felt a quiet warmth inside him, something he had not felt in many years. He sat at the edge of his bed for a moment, thinking about the day he had just spent with Arif. Every small detail replayed in his mind the boy's excited smile. The soft way he walked beside him, the careful drawings, the gentle hug at the end of the day. Imran realized that something inside him had changed. It wasn't loud or dramatic. It was quiet, steady, and honest. For the first time in a long time, he felt needed. He made tea, but instead of sitting alone, he placed a second cup on the table as if someone was sitting with him. He stared at the empty chair and imagined Arif's small hands holding a cup, his curious eyes moving around the room. The thought brought a faint smile to Imran's face. That day at work, found himself carving wood with unusually gentle hands. The sound of the tools seemed lighter. He looked at the small wooden bird Arif had given him and placed it on his workbench for inspiration. Every time he glanced at it, he felt a sense of purpose. In the afternoon, Imran decided to visit the orphanage again. He didn't want to promise anything he couldn't keep, but his feet automatically carried him there. When he reached the gate, Arif was sitting on a bench near the garden, quietly reading a book. The moment he noticed Imran, his eyes lit up, and he stood immediately. "You came back," Arif said, almost breathless with happiness. "I wanted to see how you are," Imran replied with a soft tone. Arif ran to the fence and smiled shyly. I am good. I was hoping you might come," Imran nodded. "Would you like to walk in the garden for a little while?" Arif nodded eagerly. The staff opened the gate, recognizing Imran from the previous day, and welcomed him inside. Arif walked beside him slowly, matching his steps like a child who finally had someone to follow. They sat on a wooden bench under a bare tree. Arif held the book he was reading, and Imran noticed it. "What are you reading?" Imran asked. "It's a story about a boy who becomes a builder when he grows up," Arif said softly. He fiddled with the corner of the book. "I like stories about building things. They make me feel hopeful." Imran looked at him with gentle eyes. "You can become a builder if you work hard." Arif hesitated before asking, "Will you teach me more woodwork someday?" "I will," Imran answered without hesitation. Those simple words made Arif smile wide. He looked down shyly, almost overwhelmed by the kindness he was receiving as the days passed. Imran visited the orphanage regularly. Sometimes he helped the staff repair broken shelves, windows, or small furniture. Sometimes he sat with Arif and taught him how to use sandpaper or how to draw smooth lines for wood shapes. Arif listened carefully, always eager to learn. The staff noticed the change too. Arif had always been quiet and gentle, but now he seemed happier, more confident, more alive. One of the caretakers approached Imran one afternoon. "You've made a big difference in his life," she said kindly. Imran looked down, unsure how to respond. "He's a good boy. Anyone would care about him?" The caretaker smiled softly. "He talks about you a lot. He says you make him feel seen." Those words struck Imran deeply. He returned his gaze toward Arif, who was drawing a small wooden house on the ground with a stick. Later that day, the head caretaker invited Imran to her office. She offered him a seat and began talking gently. "Imran," she said, "Arif has been with us for several years. Many people come and go, but very few stay. You have stayed." Imran listened. Quietly, she continued, "I want to ask you something, but please don't feel pressured. Have you ever thought about becoming Arif's guardian?" Imran froze for a moment. The room suddenly felt smaller. He had expected many things, maybe a simple conversation about Arif's progress, but not this. The caretaker spoke softly. "He needs someone who sees him, someone who can guide him. You already care. And he trusts you more than anyone." Imran didn't answer immediately. He felt his chest tighten. The idea of becoming a guardian felt heavy, not in a painful way, but in a responsible one. He wasn't sure if he was ready. He had spent so many years alone that the thought of suddenly being responsible for a child frightened him. "I need some time to think," he finally said. Of course, the caretaker replied gently, "Take all the time you need. This decision should come from the heart." Imran left the office feeling thoughtful. He walked into the garden and saw Arif waiting for him, swinging his legs on a bench. "Did they give you tea?" Arif asked innocently. Imran smiled at the boy's simple concern. "No, but I'm fine." Arif nodded and moved closer. "Can we work on wood someday this week?" "Yes," Imran replied, but his voice held a softness that Arif noticed. That night, Imran sat at his kitchen table, staring at the empty chair again. But this time, the emptiness of the chair felt louder. He imagined Arif's quiet voice, his gentle smile, the way he walked, the way he waited patiently. The boy had been alone for so long. Imran remembered how his hands trembled when he said he didn't want to be the only one standing alone again. Imran sighed and leaned back, staring at the ceiling. The thought kept circling in his mind. Who else does he have? The next day, Imran returned to the orphanage. He found Arif sitting on the floor outside, drawing something in a notebook. When he saw Imran, he ran up to him. "I made something," Arif said. He held up a drawing of a small house with a garden. 2 figures stood in front of it, one tall, one small. "Is this your dream house?" Imran asked. Arif nodded. "Yes, a house where someone is waiting for me." Imran took a deep breath. Something inside shifted, like a door opening after being locked for years. He knelt down so he was eye level with Arif. "Arif," he said gently, "I want to ask you something." Arif blinked, waiting. If I tried to become your guardian, would you like that?" For a second, Arif didn't breathe. Then the boy's eyes filled with a quiet, soft happiness that went deeper than excitement. He nodded slowly, as if trying not to break the moment. "Yes," he whispered, "I would like that." "Very much." Imran placed a gentle hand on his shoulder. "It may take time. There will be meetings, paperwork, many steps. But I will try, and I won't leave you." Arif looked at him with eyes full of trust that had been built slowly. Day by day, the next months were full of process interviews, inspections, forms, and long discussions. Imran stayed patient. He knew this was important. He improved his home, cleaned every room, repaired broken shelves, and even added a small corner for Arif to work on wood someday. Every time the staff visited his house, they saw the effort he was putting in. Every time Imran visited the orphanage, Arif greeted him with the same gentle joy. Finally, after months of waiting, the day arrived. The final approval. Imran went to the orphanage with a mix of excitement and nervousness. The head caretaker handed him the official papers with a warm smile. "Imran," she said, "today you are officially Aref's guardian." Imran felt his chest warm in a way he had never felt. He looked toward the door and saw Aref standing there, holding his small cloth bag. His eyes were shining, and his smile was trembling with happiness. Imran opened his arms, and Aref ran into them. It was a hug full of trust, love, and hope, quiet but powerful. "You don't have to ask for one day anymore," Imran whispered. "I'm here, always." Aref nodded against his chest. "Thank you. For choosing me?" Imran lifted the boy's bag and held his hand as they walked out of the orphanage together. The gate closed behind them, but a new door in their lives had opened, one built with kindness, patience, and the simple courage to care. The little boy who once whispered through a fence no longer stood alone. And the man who thought life had no new beginnings discovered the gentle strength of family.